Hello, my name is Selena Martinez, and today I'll be walking you through my Google Workspace course. I'll be introducing you to the theory, the purpose, and the goals and objectives of this course, as well as the activities that the students taking this course will do, and the assessments, as well as the course evaluation to see how we did on this course. I will also walk you through the tools needed for this course, as well as show you the layout of the course. So let's go ahead and get started. Most of that information that I previously mentioned about the theory and the purpose of this course is in the Google Workspace design doc here for the facilitator. This design document was created before the course as a layout. Here you'll see my guided learning theory. My guided learning theory is that students will be learning how to use Google Workspace through both constructivism and behaviorism. The learner will also be led through the steps of transitioning into fully communicating through Google Workspace. Google Workspace is a bundle of new features offered by Google to help organizations communicate through one primary source. Google Workspace includes apps that facilitate email sharing, creating, documenting, saving, and more. The intended audience for this course is any workplace that is transitioning into using Google Workspace as their primary form of communication and collaboration. This could also include offices, schools, teachers, and students, but is primarily created for offices. The purpose of this course is that through Google Workspace, a large group of people are able to communicate using an interconnected program. This allows for easy sharing, collaboration, and viewing. So with that being said, here's also a brief overlook of what the courses will look like and the planning. So the technology required for this course is very simple. I tried to keep it very simple so that way the course is very cost efficient as well as easy to access. Most of what students will be using will be provided in Google Workspace. Of course, they need internet, a computer, a web camera to use some aspects of Google Workspace, a microphone as well, and Screencast-O-Matic, which we'll talk a little bit more about. And here I have my measurable learning goals and objectives written out. So the students will gather information about previously used methods of communication and make connections between old and new methods. Students will distinguish the difference between the various apps provided by Google Workspace and learn how to select the best choices for their needs. So this is where the constructivism comes in. They're not only learning through behaviorism how to use Google Workspace, but they are learning which aspects of Google Workspace work best for their individual needs in their workplace. Students will learn how to effectively integrate the use of Google Workspace applications into their daily work lives. Students will display preparedness of Google Workspace applications in their workplace through execution. And students will slowly eliminate separate usability suites and transition towards Google Workspace for all of their needs. So what that means is if they're using Microsoft Office right now, this course will also walk them through transitioning from those Microsoft Office apps into Google Workspace with ease. So that's a brief overview about why this course was created. Let's go over to the job aid created for the facilitator of this course. We'll see that a lot of the same information is in the job aid introducing this course to the facilitator, just a little more in depth. So here I go a little more in depth about the learning theory. It's constructivism, as though I'm talking to another instructor, and how the students are going to learn through making connections with their past experiences as long as collaborating with their peers. Here I also map out the layout for the facilitator. I explain that most of the layout looks like this. And I also discuss how to assess which courses the facilitator should allow the organization to use. And so what that means is that the facilitator in this course, although there are 40 hours of information available, not all of the students will need all of the apps provided in Google Workspace. So the facilitator will make an assessment to choose which apps are appropriate for the individuals in this course. And what this means is that the administrators in this organization may be using different apps than the employees, and that's okay. That's what the analysis is for. So now I'd like to move into the activities. Here you'll see that I tried to keep the course fairly fluent. It's pretty much consistent throughout the course. These students are introduced to the module. They then read resources and perform some activities. They always perform a discussion, and they always have an assessment at the very end. Here you'll also see we walk the students a little more in depth into setting up their Screencast-O-Matic. Screencast-O-Matic is a very simple tool to record their screens, and this is how the students will show the facilitator their Google Workspace apps and that they've completed the tasks required in the assessments. So that just reinforces that students are learning through doing and not just through memorizing information. As we go down, you'll see that the courses are pretty much laid out about the same. And here in these checkboxes is where the facilitator will decide whether that course is appropriate for the students or not. So down here, we have, for example, Google Admin. Not each student needs to know Google Admin, only the administrators do. So what the facilitator would do is just unpublish this course for those students, and those students will not be able to view this course, depending on the student themselves. So an example of the layout, here's the lesson for Google Forms. Here I list very clearly the objectives in this course and the topics that the course will cover. I also list the activities that will be required in this course just for one central location to find it. And here are some brief instructions for a beginner to use a Google form. And here you see at the very end that they will share this survey that they created in their discussion. Here are some extra resources. And here is their blog reflection. So the students will always have a blog reflection within the course. A discussion where they share their Google form with each other and then take each other's surveys and respond to what they thought of each other's surveys. And their assessment. So their assessment is submitting this Google form into the instructor to review. So very simple. And finally, I'd like to show you the course evaluation. The course evaluation, I used Google Forms to create the course evaluation just to give one last example of how Google Suites can be used. So here the students will be able to anonymously fill out the course evaluation, let me know their thoughts, and submit to the facilitator. And that's just about the nuts and bolts of my course. Thank you.